guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be talking to you about what I'm going to be taking on holiday to read, so my holiday TBR. So as many of you already know, I'm going to Florida for 2 weeks. So yeah, really excited about that. I will leave a link up here to the sort of chatty video that I did last week where I talked about, you know, what we're going to be doing and things like that. So I'm obviously going to be taking some books away with me. It's not going to be a traditional beach holiday. We are going to be doing quite an awful lot of stuff, but I'm still going to take reading material with me because of course I'm going to be reading on the plane. I'm going to be reading, you know, when we get back to the hotel and things like that. So I'm still going to have plenty of reading time. So I've got 4 physical books to share with you and then a few books that I'm planning on getting to on my Kindle. So let's jump in. So the first book that I'm going to be taking with me is The Witness by Nora Roberts. This is on my summer romance book bingo TBR. I've never read anything by Nora Roberts before, but I'm really intrigued to. I hear that she writes a lot of sort of paranormal stuff, but also sort of like suspense, like romantic suspense kind of idea. So yeah, I don't really know what this is about apart from the fact that it's about a witness, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to it and just sort of seeing what I think about Nora Roberts' writing, because she is a prolific writer and there's lots more that I can read from her if I like this. Then next up, for a bit of sort of YA, I'm going to take The Siren by Kiera Cass. This is the only book by Kiera Cass that I haven't read yet, and it's a standalone book that's a retelling of The Little Mermaid, I think. So it's about Carlin, who's the siren, and Kinley, who's human, and the two of them fall in love. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I think of Kiera Cass's writing outside of the Selection series, because I did on the whole like the Selection series, especially the first 3 books, so you know, want to see what one of her standalone novels is like. Then for a bit of historical fiction, I've got Lilac Girls by Martha Hall Kelly. This is a novel about 3 women during the Second World War who come from very different backgrounds and then are thrown together in a Nazi camp, I think. And it's about their story basically. This is based on real life events, so I think this is going to make it even more poignant for me, and I suppose for whoever reads it. And it's been a while since I've read a historical fiction book, so this is an American edition of it as well, so I thought it was really fitting that I take it to the States with me. We'll see how we go. And then lastly, I have picked out Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. I've read a couple of Kristen Hanna's books and have loved them both, my favourite being The Nightingale by her. This is about 2 best friends, and so it talks about on the back something that happens in the summer of 1974, and these 2 girls meet and they become friends at school, and then it's about their life now, sort of like in the future. So it says it's the story of a generation of women who were both blessed and cursed by choices, and is a story for every woman who knows that her best friend is the one person who really truly understands her. So yeah, I do want to read a lot more by Kristen Hanna, so I figured now would be a good time to pick up something else by her. Then obviously taking my Kindle with me, so there are 5 books on there that I'd quite like to get to while I'm away. The first is Ripped by Sarah Morgan. This is the first book in a duology that she has written, I think called The Miller Sisters, and this follows a woman who is attending her ex's wedding, and I think she's bridesmaid, and then something goes wrong with her dress, and the best man helps her out and she can't stand the best man, and I think it's sort of like a hate to love relationship. So that sounds good, and of course it's Sarah Morgan. Next up I want to read Hot in Hellcat Canyon by Julie Ann Long. This was the group read for June for the summer romance book bingo. Obviously I've not got to it in June, but I still really want to read it, and this is, I believe, a contemporary sort of like small town romance about this sort of like big superstar who his career is on the rocks and he's just broken up with his girlfriend, and he comes to this small town and meets this waitress, and it's about the relationship between the two of them, so we'll see. Next is The Hostage by Susan Wiggs, which is a historical romance set during the Great Boston Fire, or the Great Chicago Fire. I think the Great Chicago Fire, which is unusual because obviously a lot of historical fictions tend to be, historical romances tend to be set sort of like in Regency England. So it's interesting reading something that's set in the States. And Sarah had recently read the second one in this series and has really liked both of them. So this is, I believe, about 3 women who are friends but get separated when the fire starts, and it tells each of their stories in each of the books, I think. The next one is called Getting Schooled by Emma Chase. This is, I believe, a romance set in a secondary school between 2 teachers. So one is sort of like the ex-quarterback, like star quarterback player who ended up being sort of like coach and is now teaching at the school, and then the female lead is coming back to town again after something, I think, horrible has happened to her, and she's living with her parents again and doing a bit of like substitute teaching, so the 2 of them come together like that. I don't know how I feel about romances set in a secondary environment, although it's not between a student and a teacher, so we'll see what I think about that one. And then the other one is a little bit different. It's Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. This is a fictionalised telling of sort of like real life events about some children who were taken away from their families under sort of false pretenses and then sold on to richer families, and it's about their experiences and I think sort of also finding out what went on and things like that. And I've heard this is very, very emotional, and I just thought throw something in there that, you know, maybe will make me cry for something a little bit different, basically. So that's 9 books. I'm obviously also going to be taking my Kindle anyway, so I've got loads of books on there that I can pick from if I want to read anything else, but I think that is quite enough to keep me going while I'm away. I think there are also going to be some books that I'm reading that are left over from the reading rush readathon, because I'm sort of going away at the back end of that. And I will leave a link to my TBR for that if you haven't seen that already. But yeah, I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Have you read any of these books? What did you think of them? Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.